to present the colors. Please stand. At this time, I would like to invite Ms. Walter and the orchestra to lead us in Eagle's Pride. Thank you. I would like at this time to invite our 8th grade select chorus, 8th grade band, and 8th grade orchestra, and all in the auditorium to please stand for the playing of a Star Spangled Banner. Great job. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now you may be seated. Thank you, Color Guard. At this time, I would like to invite Ms. Lamia and our chorus to sing My America. Great job, chorus. It's so nice to be back and have actual live performances by our performing groups. It's the first time in quite a while that we've had our chorus, our orchestra, and band all playing. So big round of applause. Great job, guys. We are here today to honor and recognize some extraordinarily important men and women. I, for one, am honored to be speaking with you all about such an important occasion. During my time at the Rocky Point Middle School, which has been a total of 19 years, we've done a lot of great things for our community. We've organized fundraisers to fight childhood cancer. We've raised money for ALS research, done push-ups to help soldiers dealing with PTSD. We sponsored food drives to help communities in need, banded together to help local families that have experienced horrific hardships, just to mention a few. However, today we are here to honor America's real heroes with our second ever Veterans Day program. Our nation's veterans are comprised of men and women who embody all of the qualities we think of when we hear the term hero. They're courageous, brave, honorable, fierce, determined, and loyal. As a former social studies teacher, I also think what makes our servicemen and women so special is that in addition to these traits that I just mentioned, the American soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, and Coast Guardsman is unique in that they represent all walks of life. They are from working class, middle class, and wealthy families. As Americans, our veterans are made up of every racial, religious, and ethnic groups. We Americans have an incredible ability to adapt, understand, and overcome all obstacles. In addition to defending our way of life, the time spent in the military afforded these proud men and women with career paths such as doctors, nurses, engineers, mechanics, plumbers, electricians, and welders. Veterans Day is a day where the average American should go out of their way and thank our heroes. Honor them for their service and their sacrifices that they've made to defend the freedoms we have here in this great country, the very freedoms that make us the envy of the world. When Mr. Messeri spoke to Ms. Myers and I about his desire to bring back our Veterans Day Assembly, we were absolutely ecstatic. There was no second thought. In the past, we had invited some of the veterans from our Stony Brook Veterans Home, but due to health concerns, given the world we live in, with the spacing, they were not able to join us this year. But we hope they are watching us through our live stream today. We are excited and honored to host members of the Rocky Point VFW post today. Welcome, Commander Cognitor and fellow veterans. In addition to thanking our veterans, Mr. Messeri was inspired to try and spread the message and importance of Veterans Day. A little history lesson. Veterans Day was originally celebrated as Armistice Day when it was first created by President Woodrow Wilson on November 11th, 1919, 1 year after the end of World War I. The idea behind Armistice Day was to honor the fallen soldiers of World War I for their bravery and sacrifices. After World War II ended, veteran Raymond Weeks had proposed that Armistice Day should be extended to honor all veterans. And on May 26, 1954, President Eisenhower signed the bill to create Veterans Day into law. We hope you've learned a little bit of interesting history related to Veterans Day, and as a result of the additional barrage of Veterans Day facts that Mr. Messeri has been embedding in our announcements for the last 10 days. Former Vice President Dick Cheney stated in his Veterans Day address in 2008, "There's no mystery behind the endurance and the success of American liberty. It's because in every generation, from the American Revolutionary period to this very hour, brave Americans have stepped forward and served honorably in our armed forces in the United States. Every one of them deserves thanks and admiration of our entire country. The students and staff here at the Rocky Point Middle School, we have sitting in this room with us some of the bravest and honorable Americans to walk the earth. Some of our special guests were in the below freezing mountains of Korea, some in the jungles of Vietnam, some in the deserts and mountains and cities of Iraq and Afghanistan. Some may not have had to deploy. However, they were all willing and ready to do whatever they needed to defend our way of life. The people that are spoken about in the very quote are sitting right here in our auditorium, right here in our front row. To borrow from Sir Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister of Great Britain during World War II, never before was so much owed by so many to so few. These brave soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen and women, Coast Guardsmen and women cannot be thanked enough for their selfless, courageous decisions to protect our way of life. So be sure to thank a veteran because we owe it to them. Now, the English department, Social Studies department ran an essay contest. I would like to invite some of our two winners to come up and share their essay. So would Karen Otero please step up to the mic?
How can I be a good American? Most people claim that how can I be a good American is a hard question to respond to. The reason for that is because often their mind pays attention to the big accomplishments, but they never tend to realize that the small things matter too. You don't have to donate tons of money to become a good American. You simply just have to care for your country. Whether it is to follow the laws, respect others, or even just throw your trash out in the right bin, you have to be considerate, kind, and most of all, willing to help. One of the components that make America unique are the rights that are given to each person. There are also a gamut of things that I love about this country, but some outweigh others. I love how our 3 branches of government are equal, so no branch has too much power. I also admire how we're able to vote for a candidate that we fancy the most as our future president. But overall, I love that we are able to make our own decisions. I love how there is a chance, an option that is given to all. For it is why I say with delight that I'm proud to be American. I show it each day by always standing for the pledge, nice and tall. Most of us already are good Americans. You can become a good American by simply planting trees. Most people would view this task as nothing, but you are helping our environment. You can also participate in community service clubs as I do. You really just have to be willing to help. You should always honor and show respect to your country in every way possible. Plus, try to make something of yourself with the rights you are given. Each year, I donate clothes I don't use anymore to people in need. In addition to that, we also never know the things someone is going through, so I'm always considerate and kind. I always try to be cautious and loving when speaking to people because of this particular reason. It is very simple to become a good American. You simply just have to make an effort.
Thank you, Karen. Great job, Karen. Would Angelica Smeech please step up to the mic?
Good Americans serve the community. They do everything they can to make their community safe. Good Americans are generous, reliable, and supportive. You can be generous by doing community service, and you can be reliable by helping out. By community service, I mean volunteering your time at something like a beach cleanup or a soup kitchen. An example of being generous is if a local soup kitchen needs more volunteers, you should be generous with your time and volunteer. What makes America so different from other countries is that we accept others no matter their ethnicity, race, or sexuality. For example, all views are accepted. Every morning I stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance to pledge my allegiance to the United States. What I love about America is that we have the freedom to protest peacefully so that we can express our opinions publicly without harming anyone. In 2019, I joined Scouting to help my community even more. Joining Scouts has really helped me to be a good American. In Scouts, I do a lot of service for the community. I am very reliable. When my troop asks for Scouts to do last-minute community service, they always know that they can count on me. In my troop, we do food drives, beach cleanups, help with family picnics at churches, and staff at other scouting events to make my community better. In Scouts, we learn how to become better leaders. I took a leadership course called National Youth Leadership Training in the summer of 2021. I learned that all ideas should be valued. It helped me to become a better leader for my troop and my community. I am proud to be here before you today, and I am proud to be a good American.
Thank you, Angelica. Great job by our essay winners. At this time, I would like to ask Ms. Walter and the orchestra for their performance of Honor and Glory. Great job, orchestra, great job. At this time, I would like to make a special presentation to a member of the Rocky Point school community who also happens to be a friend of mine who's been a part of our amazing staff here at the Rocky Point High School for over 20 years. Would Mr. Richard Ackratelli please stand up here? We have a special presentation to an amazing staff member from our Rocky Point community. Some of you may know Mr. Richard Ackratelli from his work in the high school as a social studies teacher, cross-country and middle school baseball coach. Mr. Ackratelli spent over 20 years working to acknowledge our servicemen and women as well as our first responders. He's worked tirelessly to organize and fundraise for the Joseph P. Dwyer statue at the Rocky Point Veterans Square, as a testament to our veterans who struggle with PTSD as they return home from the battlefield. Mr. Ackratelli led the drive to the construction of our September 11th memorial for the first responders and service animals in Diamond in the Pines Park in Coram. Mr. Ackratelli has been a history teacher, as I mentioned, here in Rocky Point for over 20 years. He organizes each year a September 11th observance ceremony right here in this very high school auditorium. That this year, as we mark the 20th year anniversary, he brought such distinguished guests as Suffolk County Sheriff Errol Toulon and Suffolk County Police Commissioner Stuart Cameron. Mr. Ackratelli often organizes fundraisers to help families in need. In fact, he's got a fundraiser he's organizing for this very Friday evening. His passion and service is demonstrated by his continued leadership to the Rocky Point Varsity Club. Mr. Rack, as his students affectionately refer to him, also coaches cross country and baseball, as I had mentioned. What many of you probably did not know is that Mr. Ackratelli served in the U.S. Army Reserve for 9 years, from 1994 to 2003. While he was in basic training, Mr. Ackratelli likes to joke he was an awful rifle shot, but he was a great runner In fact, he was awarded the Presidential Physical Fitness Award for his squad. Mr. Ackertelli spent a lot of time in the 623rd and 773rd Transportation Battalions, which were located in Fort Totten, which is Bayside, Queens, where he was a heavy truck operator. He hauled jet fuel and ammunition, I'm hoping not at the same time, between Rhode Island and Virginia. Later, Mr. Ackertelli was transferred to the 106th Rescue Wing right here in West Hampton Beach. Mr. Ackertelli reached the rank of Staff Sergeant when his enlistment ended in 2003. It's no wonder he's put so much time into serving his community after you learn of his experience serving as a veteran here in the U.S. Army. Mr. Ackertelli, on behalf of the Rocky Point Middle School and the Rocky Point community at large, we thank you for your years of service in the military as well as in Rocky Point.
Thank you very much for this wonderful honor. Words are not enough to say how proud I am of Mr. Moeller, Mr. Masseri, and of the young men and women today. The roots of patriotism are very strong within this community. You guys have done it at FJC and JEE, now in the middle school, and hopefully down the road in the high school. I'm very proud of the young men and women here today, especially those that I've coached, that have just done a wonderful job this morning playing some really great patriotic music. Thank you very much for this honor, and God bless America. And also, we have men here this morning. I served for 9 years. I did the best I could. I had some great experiences, but I never went overseas. I never did a lick of combat. And there's a little bit of a difference between me and the gentlemen that are here this morning. These are the men that answered the call. They were overseas. They were in Vietnam, Cambodia. They were all over the place. And all they wanted to do was survive and keep their friends alive next to them. And from that moment on, they've lived some very, very incredible lives to this point where they have a new mission, okay, to help those veterans since 9/11 return to a country where they're constantly looked after. Thank you very much. God bless America, and thank you again.
I'd like to invite Commander Cognitor to come up and say a few words from our Rocky Point VFW post.
I want to thank you today. I feel honored and I also privileged to be here today with the students of Rocky Point Middle School. I want to thank Superintendent O'Brien. Especially I want to thank Principal Moeller and John Masseri. Where'd you go, John? Back there. Thank you so much for putting this together today for the veterans and for all the students here. This to me is outstanding. I cannot begin to say how I feel today. I'm ecstatic, I'm overwhelmed, and I appreciate all that was accomplished today, because I know this just doesn't happen. Everybody walk in and do something. It's well planned. I want to give a nice round of applause to our orchestra here and our singers. Thank you so much. And I also want to give a nice round of applause to all the students here today. Thank you for what you do. I want to say thank you to members of Post 6249, our veterans here. And I also like to thank all veterans, all over, especially your parents, your relatives, and friends. I want to say thank you to the Long Island State Veterans Home that couldn't be here today. And they do a great job there, and I appreciate all that are over at that home, and thank them for a great Veterans Day coming on the 11th. I could sit here and talk all day, but I think you'd rather listen to me than go to class, right? But I just want to say just one thing in closing. I am proud of this school district from top to bottom, and I mean that. My two sons graduated here. They're doing very well in their careers, and I want to say to you, I hope that you can accomplish what they did, if not more. And I just encourage you to stay in school, listen to your teachers, and be great patriots and be great citizens of this country. Thank you so much for all you guys do. Thank you.
Please stand as the bugleman performs taps to honor our veterans. At this time, I would like to invite the 8th grade band, led by Mr. Vincent Ragona, to play God Bless the USA. Okay, I hope you enjoyed our little thank you to very important people. I truly can't thank all of the people involved enough. A special thank you to our select 8th grade chorus, combined band and orchestra, which is under the direction of Miss Lamia, Miss Ragona, and Miss Walter. Thank you to our student government under the direction of Mr. Connolly for raising money by selling our patriotic ribbons and creating our Veterans Day scavenger hunt. Mrs. LaBianca and Mrs. Bonconsiglio for creating Veterans Day posters and patriotic decorations throughout the building. Our social studies department for writing thank you letters to our veterans. The English department for spearheading our Veterans of Foreign War essay. Mr. John Rackus and the custodial staff. Mr. Scott Warmbrand and the tech staff. And again, the music department for the auditorium for setting this up, as well as our high school students and Mr. Conlon at the high school guidance department. Thank you all. I appreciate Mr. Van Cott and Ms. Muscatella for coming over. Dr. O'Brien unfortunately had a conflict and couldn't make it. And again, a special thank you to Mr. Messeri for taking vision and putting it into reality. Last, but certainly not least, a very special thank you to Mr. Acrotelli and Commander Cognatore and all of our special guests from the Rocky Point VFW, and to our Stony Brook Veteran Home residents who hopefully are watching this. We are forever grateful for your service. Thank you very much. Okay, at this time, we are now going to